The federal government has signed a deal with Pfizer to acquire 85 million booster shots. Some will arrive next year and come on top of what has already been ordered.
And political reporter Stephanie Boris joins us now from Parliament House in Canberra to give us more of the details. Here, just run us through this deal for more booster shots from Pfizer, Stephanie.
So this is 80 million booster shots. Booster shots being the key word there, because this isn't going to help with our vaccine rollout this year. What it means is the majority of those doses will arrive in Australia next year and the remaining in 2023. And they'll be made available to people who are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. So the best way to explain this is consider the flu shot. If you've got the flu shot this year, it obviously protects you. However, next year you'll need to get another one because the strain changes over time. And that's, of course, what we're seeing with COVID-19 as well. So while you are fully vaccinated, hopefully this year against COVID-19, you will most likely need a booster shot next year. So this announcement is about ensuring that there are supplies to make that possible. Now, Australia's vaccine advisory body, which is known as ATAGI, it's yet to formally recommend that boosters will be needed. However, when we look at medical reporting worldwide, we can see that that is likely to be the case, and the federal government has said publicly already that it is planning for booster shots to be a necessary part of combating COVID-19, and this announcement shows that the government is very much planning for that. We heard from the Federal Treasurer, Josh Frydenberg, this morning, and he said that this announcement is about planning for the future. Of course, it won't be about assisting Australians this year in the fight against COVID.
Well, the doses that we've just secured will be booster shots, and that's really important because this virus is not going away. There's one ticket out of this crisis, and that's vaccinations. And that's why we have secured as many of the Pfizer vaccine and indeed the Moderna vaccine and indeed the AstraZeneca vaccine as we possibly can. Now, with respect to the vaccines that we've got this year, and the Prime Minister has been fully engaged, as well as Greg Hunt, the Health Minister, and our public servants, in getting as many of these doses as possible to Australia.
That's the Federal Treasurer there, Josh Frydenberg. And just picking up on what the Treasurer just said there about the government trying to get as many doses to Australia as possible, we know New South Wales still wants more doses and they've made that request. Will the state get it?
The answer is a hard no when it comes to help from other states. We have heard both the Premier Gladys Berejiklian in New South Wales and the Health Minister Brad Hazzard essentially plea to the other states and territories to give some of their Pfizer allocation to Sydney due to that outbreak that we're seeing there. But as I mentioned, the answer was no. The federal government yesterday did confirm, though, an extra 50,000 Pfizer doses will be delivered to Sydney. These come from a so-called federal allocation, so they're not taking away from other states. They're basically a reserve supply. This morning, Federal Labor frontbencher Bill Shorten was on Insiders, and he says that Australians are sick of this political fighting, which is kind of ironic coming from a politician making that statement. But nonetheless, he said that he does actually agree with New South Wales that if there are additional supplies of Pfizer, they should be going to Sydney, given what's occurring there.
Part of me thinks that we shouldn't be in this mess at all, Sydney, Melbourne or anywhere, if we had a proper vaccine rollout. I'm just sick of Australia that we've become the United Nations of Australia. I'm sick of the fact that we're 8 mini countries. Now, I think in Victoria and the rest of Australia, if there are unsubscribed, unscheduled vaccines, Sydney's where the trouble is. So, like, we're Australians first. We're cheering our team on in Tokyo, but here we're in the Hunger Games, and I think people are over the squabbling.
So in terms of where we're at the moment with the vaccine rollout, well, there are expected to be 40 million Pfizer doses delivered by the end of the year. Of course, some of those are already in Australia, but the remaining of them to come later on in this year. Moderna is another vaccine that the federal government has ordered and once again is expected later on this year. That keyword of expected, because we are relying on these vaccines to be manufactured overseas. Because the supply is limited at the moment, we did hear yesterday from ATAGI. They're very much suggesting and encouraging people in Sydney to get the AstraZeneca vaccine now, considering the risk of the outbreak there and also due to limited supplies.
All right, Stephanie Boris reporting for us from Canberra. Thank you.